What is going on, everybody? Everybody awaiting my reactions here to the Madden 20 ratings. We're going to do the most overrated players here, the top 10 most overrated, not necessarily in any specific order. I do have just a general reaction after seeing the entire roster here. They announced that they're doing a ratings spread this year to try and differentiate the stars from your average players, your replacement level starters, all that stuff. Try to make stars feel like stars, which is kind of their slogan. That's been something I've been saying on this channel in my roster videos for about 3 years here. So you guys are very familiar with this, and I obviously have a lot of opinions on this. Personally, I don't think they went far enough. I could have had 100 players on this video as overrated. Just, middling, like replacement level starters still in the mid to high 70s, which I really strongly disagree with. I still think you're going to see it being way too easy to team build and compete with poor rosters. So, that's just my opinion. You could make a case for theirs being better, mine being better. That's all up to preference. But for those asking, I will absolutely still be doing my custom roster because I still think the ratings are way too high, even though they are better probably than what they were last year. But now it's more time to focus on the individual players I disagree with. And these are not in any specific order here, but let's just get into it here. We kind of went through positionally, unless a position didn't have a guy. But Patrick Mahomes, the #1 quarterback, I disagree with this. It's hard not to say that this is just because he's the cover athlete, that he was the MVP. Matt Ryan and Cam Newton have also won MVPs in the last couple of years. Winning an MVP does not make you the best quarterback in the NFL. Throwing for the most touchdowns does not make you the best quarterback in the NFL. On film, Patrick Mahomes obviously has the potential to become the best quarterback in the NFL, but he still forces a ton of balls into throws that he should not make and that most elite quarterbacks would not make. He effectively lost his team the game by forcing a ball into double coverage late in the AFC Championship game. The interception was dropped the next play, which leads into my next point, that he plays for the most quarterback-friendly team in the NFL right now with elite playmakers and an elite play caller. After that dropped interception, he had a screen pass go for 40 yards that set up a big-time touchdown late in that AFC Championship game. So he's a great player, and he will come in the top 5 for me, most certainly. But to have him as the best quarterback in the NFL after one season as a starter, I am not going to go that far. So next up, we've got a running back here, Todd Gurley. 3 overall points ahead of the next guy down, Ezekiel Elliott, as the #1 running back in the NFL. And this is where I get a little bit confused, because 2 points here. To me, Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the NFL, and his film would tell you nothing other than that. If you're going to put Patrick Mahomes as the first quarterback in the NFL after one season, why can Saquon Barkley not get the same respect? The other thing here is injuries are all over the place, and the way they kind of regard injuries here. Like, you got Ryan Shazier, who, even if he magically comes back, which I seriously doubt he will not be a top 5 linebacker in the NFL. He just has way too much to overcome. That is something you can more likely than not project, which is what these ratings should be, is a projection of how good these players will be. And then you also look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who's played hurt for 2 years, was nothing but, at worst, a top 3 quarterback when healthy. To make him quarterback 7, for example, you seem to be ignoring the injury factor there. Yet with Todd Gurley, he was not, for the last 2 months of the season, because of serious arthritis issues, a top 5 or even 10 running back in this league. All reports this offseason are that the Rams are very worried about Todd Gurley, and it's not just rumors either. It is reinforced by what we've actually seen, not just how they used him down the stretch last year, but going out and drafting Darrell Henderson in the 3rd round of last year and picking up an extension on another running back there, Mac Brown. They are very worried about Todd Gurley. I will not have Todd Gurley as a top 5 and probably not even a top 10 running back in my roster because all of these injury concerns add up. And the player we saw at the end of last year with this injury stuff was not the best running back in the NFL, frankly, not even close. So I disagree with Todd Gurley as the best running back in the game. Then we got another running back here, Chris Carson, as tied for the 11th running back in the NFL. Now, he had a breakout season last year, a 7th-round pick, really explosive power back, and a really nice player, and I would have him as a top 20 to 30 running back, but tied for 11th here. For one, he's just a really one-dimensional player, but the other thing is we've seen players just like this many, many times. The last few years specifically, Thomas Rawls here in Seattle, Alex Collins in Baltimore, Rob Kelly with the Redskins. These low-level, undrafted late-round running backs that are power back guys that are very one-dimensional, don't necessarily catch the ball out of the backfield. He now has an injury question this offseason, and he's going to have Rashad Penny breathing down his neck. If Chris Carson repeats as a top 12 running back in the NFL, which I wouldn't even go as far as saying he was last year, he was on the fringe, I would be remarkably surprised. He just, to me, does not have that talent and that upside to repeat that. He's a very nice player and a good culture fit for that team, but I cannot get behind the 11th running back in the NFL. Then Phillip Lindsay, kind of similar here. He is the tied for 13th running back. Really nice player, and people think I hate Phillip Lindsay, and his stats would back him up, but you guys know I'm not a stats guy. Look, there's guys behind him, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook. They're just better running backs. And if you disagree with that, I don't really know what to tell you. I mean, Phillip Lindsay is insanely explosive, and his stats were awesome last year, and he had some really great big runs. But for an undrafted rookie free agent last year who came out of nowhere, to put him at 86 as one of the best running backs in the NFL, I can't get behind that. And you could say, oh, it's because of what he brings to the table as a receiving back. Yeah, he's really good at that, but he's tied with James White, who's been an established receiving back who runs much better routes and has proven to have much better hands than Phillip Lindsay. So, yeah, I like Phillip Lindsay, but tied for 13th, I cannot get behind that one. The next is the Vikings wide receivers. Now, I really like these players, and I think it's the best wide receiver duo in the entire NFL. To me, it's just where they're rated. Both of these guys, to me, are a good tier below your tier 1 guys like Odell, Julio, personally even like AJ Green. I think these guys are really special, and they're both right in that top 10 range, but they're much closer to me to like Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans. And in these ratings, these guys are right behind those uber elite guys. 94 for Thielen, 93 for Diggs. The combination of those two, it just does not seem right to me as the 7th and 8th best wide receivers in the league. And it's not even 7th and 8th that I disagree with. It's how close they are to guys like Odell, Julio, and DeAndre Hopkins. And that's just a ratings spread issue for me. Next, we have another wide receiver, Marvin Jones. He has been perennially overrated on Madden for a couple of years now. 86 overall, he's tied for 22nd, showed clear signs of regression last season. He's not even the best wide receiver on his own team. Kenny Golladay clearly overtook that role from Marvin Jones, and Kenny Golladay is 3 overall lower than Marvin Jones. But he's also tied with guys like Allen Robinson. So to me, Marvin Jones is a solid number 2 wide receiver, should come in that 78 to 80 overall range. But to put him at 86 as a definitive impact star player in Madden, I don't agree. I really do not agree. Then they have Travis Benjamin, another guy that's perennially, for some reason, ranked as a high-quality starter in Madden, a 79 overall. I do not understand what is being seen here that makes Travis Benjamin this good. He's a very good athlete, but 92 speed and 94 agility and being a good kick returner doesn't explain being a legitimate starting caliber player. And this is the kind of guy that when I say just the average guy is way too high, 79 overall for Travis Benjamin is exactly what you point to. He has terrible hands. He's not versatile as a route runner, really, in any regard. He's never produced at a high level. I just don't get it. And this has been a player that has been this conversation for 2 or 3 years now. So that one really confuses me. And now we've got a combination of tight ends here. Again, it's the injury thing here. If you're going to lower Aaron Rodgers to the 7th best quarterback in the NFL because he's been injured the last couple of years, you can't also have Greg Olsen and Tyler Eifert as the 5th and 6th best tight ends in the NFL. Greg Olsen, for one, just is not that good of a blocker. He was one of the worst blocking tight ends when he played last year. And he's lost a step. He's not the same impact. He's not the same elite receiving tight end. He's not a top 10 tight end in the NFL anymore. And then Tyler Eifert, the same thing can be said. He actually stayed pretty healthy last year and played a lot. Was clearly not the 6th best tight end in the NFL. So pretty strongly disagree with both of those tight end rankings. And then this one, if I were ranking these, would be number 1. Jadeveon Clowney as a 92 overall, the 4th highest rated edge rusher in the entire game? Where did that come from? Like, that one does not add up to me. Myles Garrett's better than him, Cameron Jordan's better than him, DeMarcus Lawrence is better than him, Joey Bosa's better than him. Then you could maybe throw him into the conversation with like Danielle Hunter, Trey Flowers, hell, even Frank Clark, who's like 10 overall ratings lower than him. Like, I just don't really understand this one with Jadeveon Clowney as a 92 overall. The Texans are thinking about trading him. They did not extend him to a long-term contract like guys like DeMarcus Lawrence and D Ford and Frank Clark just got. Like, I get that he's a freak athlete, but his skill does not warrant the 4th best edge rusher in the NFL and making him probably one of the 4 or 5 best defensive players in the game in terms of Madden. So that one just came out of left field for me. That one really surprised me. And then the last one on this list is Kendall Fuller, an 87 overall. I don't get this one. Like, the Chiefs were getting roasted last year. Kendall Fuller was not particularly good. He was fine. But to rank him tied with Marshawn Lattimore, one of the legitimate, like, star corners in the league, ahead of guys like Marlon Humphrey, Tre'Davious White, it just doesn't add up to me. And you're misrepresenting the Chiefs, who do not have a strong secondary. Yet you're going to give them this elite corner who's tied for the 13th best corner in the NFL. I don't know about that one, Madden. I would love to hear the explanation on that one, because between Fuller and Clowney, those just came out of just absolute left field for me. And then the last guy, I mentioned him a little bit earlier, but Ryan Shazier, like, I get you don't want to offend him and say he's not going to play again, but like, either make him a lot slower or just like take him out of the game. Like, you're almost teasing Steelers fans at this point. Ryan Shazier, if he does get back on the field, he's not going to be the same guy. He's just not. So that's it. Those are my 10 most overrated players in Madden 20. Stick around, subscribe, turn on notifications, because I will have my 10 most underrated players in the NFL coming up very soon. So peace out, guys. Hit that like button, and cheers.